It's my distinct pleasure to introduce David Meerman Scott.
Thanks, Patrick. So put your hands together or hoot and howl if you are a fan of the Grateful Dead.
Hey, mama said the way you move gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove.
I think we need louder music. How about Led Zeppelin fans? Do we have any Miley Cyrus fans?
You used to call me on my cell phone late night when you need my love.
Give it up for Drake. How about Michael Jordan fans? I'm from the Boston area, Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. I hear a bunch of boos, that's okay, because I don't like them either. Harry Potter fans. How about, this is a rare one, Magic the Gathering fans? Anybody? I've got my Apple phone right here. Do we have any Apple fans? And I know who I'm going to look at right now, Michelle. Any fans of Peloton? Who is a massive, enormous fan who loves your insurance company? Anybody? So I had one person say to me, insurance sucks. It's not fun. And that was the CEO of an insurance company. His name is McKeel Haggerty. And McKeel Haggerty said to me, David, my business is terrible. Nobody likes my business. I can't market the way that everybody else does. I have to do something completely different. So what McKeel Haggerty told me is I specifically went out to develop fans of my business. I specifically went out to cultivate customers, turn them into fans. So here's what McKeel Haggerty did. They are a classic car auto insurance company. And he and his people go to over 100 classic car events a year. They're there educating people. They're there talking to customers. They're providing valuable information. They're educating people through seminars and all kinds of things at these events. They have a magazine. It comes out 6 times a year. They have a YouTube channel, a fabulous YouTube channel. I'm going to play for you 30 seconds of one of their videos right now.
Oh, look at this. Oh, man. Here we go again. This is a dream.
My name is John Rude.
Josh Gold.
I'm Dustin Frisk.
And I'm Courtney Frisk, and this is why we drive.
This is an insurance company in a business everybody hates with over 1 million subscribers to their YouTube channel. This is the idea of cultivating fans. Haggerty also has a valuation report. How much is my classic car worth? How much has it changed in value? They provide that information out there. They've also got a drivers club with 600,000 members of their drivers club. This is a place that you can engage with other people who are like you, who love classic cars. And all of this has driven incredible passion from people like me who have classic cars. This is my 1973 Land Rover Series 3 that's been proudly insured by Haggerty for 15 years. And I am a fan of my insurance company. Can you imagine? A business everybody hates. This is the idea of tapping into existing fandoms and turning people into customers. What McKeel Haggerty told me, he said, David, I didn't have to invent the passion for the car. I didn't have to invent the car itself. All I had to do was tap into it to grow fans of my business. So throughout the morning today, we've been talking a lot about being customer-centric. I would extend that and say, let's be customer-centric and fandom-focused, because it's an incredibly powerful, yeah, I like that, clap for that. Let's do that one again. Let's be customer-centric and fandom-focused. Nice. Thank you. So Haggerty, now the largest classic car insurance company on the planet. They're going to have double-digit compound growth this year, growing by 200,000 new customers every single year. My daughter, Reiko, is a huge fan of my Land Rover, too. She's enjoyed the Land Rover since she was small. And she loves my Land Rover. She's such a big fan of the Land Rover so much that she wanted to be with the Land Rover when she got married last year. I know, isn't that amazing? Fandom drives buying decisions. People who are fans drive buying decisions, even in businesses that people don't like insurance. We spend money on the things that we love. This idea of fandom, so incredibly powerful. So I've written a number of books, as Patrick kindly said when he introduced me. One of them is called The New Rules of Marketing and PR. That book is the #1 book on the planet for online marketing. It sold 400,000 copies in English. It's in 29 other languages, from Albanian to Vietnamese. And these ideas of online marketing are really powerful, but I'm a little bit conflicted because so many people are abusing this channel, this channel of online marketing. They're abusing it, and there's a race to the bottom in many ways. The pendulum has swung too far into the direction of superficial online communications. People doubling down and sending yet another email to their list. People connecting with you on LinkedIn and immediately trying to sell you something. And the social networks are also part of the problem because they used to be optimized to allow you to communicate with your friends and colleagues. They're now optimized around profit. They're optimized around polarization, getting you to talk to only the people who are just like you. This pendulum has swung too far in the direction of superficial online communications at a time when all of us are hungry for a true human connection. And that true human connection is fandom. This idea of fandom is so interesting that I decided I had to study it. I had to study it, and it became this book that all of you have a copy of called Fanocracy. Hopefully you got one while you're here. And I wrote it with Reiko, who I introduced you to just a moment before. Reiko and I are incredibly different. Reiko is a millennial woman. She's mixed race. My wife is Japanese. Reiko was born in Tokyo. She's a massive, massive fan of Harry Potter. Loves, loves, loves Harry Potter. So not only has she read every book multiple times, not only has she seen every movie multiple times, not only has she gone to right where we are now, Orlando, to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter several times. She flew to London to go on the studio tour. That's her with her friend Anna. And she wrote an 85,000-word alternative ending to the Harry Potter series where Draco Malfoy is a spy for the Order of the Phoenix. And those of you who know Harry Potter, that was obvious. She's a Slytherin, right? And so this idea of fandom drives buying decisions. That's Reiko at the midnight party for one of the book releases. Reiko also loves getting dressed up and going to Comic-Con. That's her in the middle, dressing up and going to Comic-Con. And in my case, as Patrick kindly said, I am a massive live music fan. It's actually now 797 live concerts. That spreadsheet, I need to update my website, I guess. My spreadsheet, I'm such a geek, I have the spreadsheet for the concerts I went to, I know, it's kind of geeky. I've been to 75 Grateful Dead concerts, so that's the one that I've seen the most. And I've calculated that I've spent just over $500,000 on live music. When it comes to concert tickets, airplane tickets, exorbitant fees at StubHub because I want to sit in the front, $500,000. And sometimes people say to me, but David, all of these shows you've seen, almost 800 live shows, what's your favorite? And I say, well, I don't know about the favorite, but I'll share the most epic. Would you like to hear the most epic? I went to a Bob Marley show on September 23rd, 1980. I was at Kenyon College. I was 19 years old. My friends and I road tripped to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We got properly prepared, as one does for a Bob Marley concert. And for some reason, I managed to borrow my friend's camera. He was the photographer for the yearbook. I borrowed his camera. Never done that before for any other shows, and haven't done it since for any other shows. And it turns out I was the only person known to have taken photographs at Bob Marley's last concert. And these photographs are photographs that I took. They were used for 5 minutes in the Bob Marley documentary, and they've become historic photographs that the Marley family now has, the really important photographs. This music actually is from that show in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So sometimes when you're a massive fan, you stumble into history, like I was able to with that show. But what's interesting about this is Reiko and I talked with neuroscientists. What's going on in our brains when we become a massive fan of something? And it turns out, this is so interesting to me, turns out we humans are hardwired to need to be a part of a tribe of people. We need to be a part of a tribe of people because our ancient brain says that's when we're the most comfortable. We're the most comfortable and the most safe when we're part of our tribe. So for me, yeah, the live music is amazing. But what's even more important for us as fans is, in my case, going to live music with my friends. I can turn to anybody at a Grateful Dead concert and have an instant bond with them, have an instant conversation with them, standing in line for a beer. We can be, it's as if we're close friends. My daughter Reiko, Harry Potter, same thing. Oh my God, you're a Slytherin, so am I. Immediately jump into a conversation. This idea of being a part of a tribe is something that we can tap in our businesses, and it's rooted in neuroscience. Because this idea of fanocracy is about a shared emotion. It's the shared emotion that you can build for your customers, just like Haggerty did, so that customer-centric becomes fandom-focused. That pendulum is swinging back to a true human connection when you add the idea of fandom. And so one of our theses with the book 5 years ago when we went into it was any organization can develop fans. And we were thinking about this. Is it really true, Reiko and I said? Is it really true that any organization can build fans? And we spent 5 years looking at this idea. And we found examples all over in every single kind of business. Education, nonprofit, business to business, technology, doctors, lawyers, dentists, it doesn't matter. We found examples of all of them. And one of the interesting things is the outward manifestation of fandom. It's people who wear the logo on the ball cap. It's the people who wear the logo on the t-shirt. It's people who put the sticker on the back of their computer. It's people, and we found many of them who tattoo a logo of the thing they love onto their body. It's an amazing experience. And people say, David, really, truly, everything? We found a US government agency with 50 million fans. We found a US government agency that you can be walking down any street in the world and not be surprised to see somebody wearing a t-shirt of this US government agency. I was in the Seychelles, a group of islands off the western coast of Africa, north of Madagascar, about 2 months ago with my wife on a holiday, and somebody was walking towards us with a NASA t-shirt, not this person. Did you guess it was NASA? Isn't that interesting? Even a US government agency can develop fans. And so in the book that you've got copies of, we identified 10 different prescriptions for how to grow fans. And I'm going to do a deep dive into several of them in the time we've got left together. And I'm going to be here for the entire rest of today through the dinner, so if anyone wants to come and have a chat about any of these ideas, I will be around. So the first idea, and we've talked a lot about this over the last couple of hours that we've been together, the idea of humanizing a business. Is it okay if I talk about how not to do it first? Is that okay? So here's what so many people do, and I'd just like to read this. This is a real company. Company X provides business integration software to integrate, assemble, and optimize available IT assets to drive business process productivity. Company X delivers an innovative enterprise-class business integration platform that incorporates proven integration technology with next-generation capabilities into one interoperable set of tools that delivers a unique combination of efficiency, agility, and control. Did you all get that? It's like some kind of cult, isn't it? The way that people talk, it's like a cult. And this language, I call it gobbledygook. Gobbledygook doesn't work. And so I wanted to analyze gobbledygook. And what I did was I looked at every single press release sent in the English language for an entire year. There were 770,000 press releases sent in this particular year. And I wanted to find out what are the most overused words and or phrases. Because when they're overused, they're ineffective when they're being used in marketing. And when they're overused, we need to think about how can we eliminate those words and phrases. Anyone want to guess what the #1 most overused word and or phrase is? It's been uttered in this room several times today, I might say. That word would be innovative. And here's the thing. It's great to be innovative. Nothing wrong with being innovative. But as soon as you say you're innovative, by definition, you're not, because everyone says they're innovative. 51,390 companies say they're innovative. When you're saying you're innovative, you're not innovative. Simply by using the word innovative, you're not innovative. And you need to think about how can you communicate to real people using real language. Which brings me to another form of gobbledygook. I call it visual gobbledygook. Who in the heck are these people? Who are these happy, multicultural people who inhabit conference rooms all over the world? I don't know who they are, do you? They're like everywhere, these people. And then you've got, I'm sure you've seen these, you've got the happy multicultural people staring into computer screens. Let's see, let's do some e-learning, shall we? Okay, yes, I think that's a good idea. We should do some e-learning. And so sometimes I speak to the financial services industry, and they're guilty. They always have the same shot. It's happy seniors wearing white on vacation. You've seen that shot, right? It's like, they don't look like me. I'm I've still got a couple decades, but one day I might retire. I'm not going to look like that, though. And Reiko, who's my co-author, who I introduced you to, and who you'll read about in the book, Reiko is actually a fourth-year medical school student. She graduates in May. She's going to become an emergency room doctor. And I said to her, Reiko, are there any doctors who look like this? And she said to me, no, I don't think they even know which end of the stethoscope to put into their ear. And these people were modeling underwear last week or something, and now they're pretending to be doctors. And I need to apologize to everyone for what I'm going to do next. So let me apologize. What I'm going to show you next, you can't unsee. It's going to be 6 months from now, a year from now. There it is again. I can't believe he did that to us. So with apologies, what is it with women laughing alone with salad? It's like, it's a thing. It's everywhere. Women laughing alone with salad. It's crazy, right? I mean, I don't know where this comes from. And I was talking to my friend Tim. My friend Tim works at IBM. And I'm like, Tim, you've got some bald-headed guy on your website on the homepage, and the same bald-headed guy is on the Constant Contact website. What's up with that? That's what happens when you use stock photography. So what we need to all do, I heard Michelle already say this, but what we all need to do is say no to stock photography. Use real people. Use real photographs, right? So I'd like to invite Lester to come up onto the stage. This is Lester, everybody. Give it up for Lester. Lester, we got to make sure everybody can see Lester. Lester is our photographer. He's a real photographer taking real photographs. You want me to go over here? And we're going to do a photo right now. You're all going to be in it. Okay, could I get the house lights just a little bit? Is that easy to do? You're not all going to be in it. We're in the round. Don't be an idiot. This group of the people are going to be in it. All right, here we go. I'll go here. I got to make some poses right here so make sure it doesn't look like stock photos. Lester, thank you very much. Give it up for Lester, everybody. And so when you're doing something like showing perspectives, use real people, right? That you're doing it already, but the more, the better. There's some great images and videos of people on the site and in the marketing materials. Celebrate those people. Use the real thing. This is about growing and nurturing genuine human connections. The next concept is letting go of your creations. And this is so hard for companies to do, to let go of their creations. And as Reiko and I were analyzing this idea of fandom, we really loved this concept of understanding the different types of fandom and how people become fans of a company. And we identified two broad categories of fandom. The first one we call curative fandom. That's the official fandom, the official website, the official way the company wants you to engage with their business. And then we've got transformative fandom. This is when people turn it into something new, turn it into something else. So let me share with you some examples of these two different types of fandom. In the case of live music, you've got classical music, curative, which is the idea of playing the notes exactly as they appear on the score. And then you've got transformative fandom, which is the idea of jazz and turning it into something else, improvisation. In classic cars, curative fandom are people who want that car to look exactly the way it did when it came off of the assembly line 50 or 75 years ago. And then you've got transformative fandom, people who make hot rods, turning a car into something completely different than the way it originated. Major League Baseball, you've got curative fandom, the official statistics, how many runs batted in, how many walks. Transformative fandom, fantasy baseball, turning it into something completely different. My favorite example of this concept of curative versus transformative, Hamilton. Curative fandom, the book Hamilton, the facts. Here is what Alexander Hamilton's life was like. And then you've got the race-bent retelling of Hamilton's story in rap, which became among the most popular musicals of all time. But what's interesting to us is many historians dismissed Hamilton the play because they said it wasn't true to Hamilton's life. No, of course it wasn't. He wasn't rapping that we know of. But it was transforming it to something interesting. Here's the problem. Many organizations only focus on curative fandom with their companies, Adobe being one of them. Is it okay to pick a little bit on Adobe? So Adobe, they make Photoshop and a bunch of other products. And Reiko is a massive fan of making art using Photoshop. And she and her friends who also make art using Photoshop love to go on online forums and talk about how they can do something different, change up the brush strokes or whatever it might be. And she said to me, Daddy, Adobe doesn't get it. They're trying to tell us how to talk about Adobe. And here's what they say. Trademarks are not verbs. It is incorrect to say the image was Photoshopped. It is correct to say the image was enhanced using Adobe trademark R, Photoshop trademark R software. And Adobe also says trademarks must never be used in possessive form. It's incorrect to say Photoshop's new features are impressive. It's correct to say the new features in Adobe's Photoshop software, Adobe R, Photoshop R software are impressive. What Reiko said to me is, Daddy, everything Adobe is telling us to do is not what a fan would do. Everything they say is incorrect, is us being a fan. So our challenge, all of us, is to let fans own our products. Let them talk about us in the way they want to talk about us. Let them celebrate the fact that they love us in the way that they want to celebrate that. And I found another example which I absolutely love. Some of you may know the iRobot is the company, and they make the Roomba vacuum cleaner. Did you know there's a whole subculture of people who love to make videos of their pets riding on their Roombas? It's amazing, right? And so this is completely off of the spec, right? You know, and the lawyers are probably having a heart attack. Oh my God, what happens if Kitty's tail goes into the Roomba? It's going to be terrible. I'm sure that the lawyers at iRobot wanted this to be stopped. But fortunately, there's tens of millions of people who share these videos, who see the videos that are being shared, and this is a form of transformative fandom that's absolutely amazing. So when you think about this idea of curative fandom versus transformative fandom, remember that there's people who want to do both. And so here's another example of this idea of transformative fandom. Any Wicked and Divine fans? This is a really obscure fandom. Really? I've presented for a year, and yet you're the first person I found. So do you mind coming up for just a moment? All I'm going to do is get a photograph with you, because I want to share it with my daughter. Is that okay? I'm not just right up here, and we're going to get a photo. We're going to go back. We're going to look right there at the. Thank you so much. I'm going to share that with Reiko. I've asked probably 3,000 people, and no one has yet owned up. There may have been other fans, but you're the first person who's owned up to being a fan of the Wicked and Divine. Reiko is a massive fan of the Wicked and Divine. And she and her friends went to Comic-Con. You saw this photo earlier. She and her friends went to Comic-Con. Reiko's in the middle. They got dressed up, and they had such a blast going and changing, transforming that character into what they thought that character is. This is the Morrigan, who transforms into 3 different forms. Reiko is in the middle. But what's interesting about this photo is that this photo was actually taken by the creators of The Wicked and Divine. They put it on their Instagram and said, wow, this is so great. The way that these fans are celebrating what they love. And this is the idea of transformative fandom. It's turning what you love into something else, because this idea of fanocracy is built on all of us, not just what the creator says. So our challenge is to let go and to allow in these business communities to flourish. And yes, this also happens with business communities. Microsoft is my favorite example of how this is done so well. Microsoft has a partner community. It's the largest channel for Microsoft, $95 billion in revenue. I've spoken a number of times at the Microsoft Worldwide Partner Conference called Microsoft Inspire. The partners curate the speaker tracks at Microsoft Inspire. But what's most interesting to me is that the entire online partner community at Microsoft is run by the partners. And the partners answer the questions of other partners. Microsoft lurks, but the partners are the ones answering the partners. And some people say to me, but David, this is like losing control, isn't it? This idea of transformative fandom turning into something else, letting the fans take over. Yeah, in a way, it's losing control, but here's the thing, it's already happening. People are already talking about you. People are already answering questions about Skillsoft and SumTotal in forums and chat rooms. So celebrating it is such a great way to get these ideas out there. And Katie Quigley, who works at Microsoft, told me, you don't want to hear from the company that's trying to sell you something. You want to hear from your peers. And this idea of being customer-centric and fandom-focused has been so powerful for Microsoft. $95 billion a year in annual revenue from the partner channel alone. They have 300,000 partner companies that they work with. But what's most interesting to me is that some number of years ago, people gave up Microsoft as dead. Do you remember that? Oh my God, Microsoft is dead. They're now among the top 5 companies on the planet in terms of the value of the company. So this idea of losing control, this is the largest channel for all of Microsoft, works really, really, really well for them. So how can you grow and nurture those genuine human connections to build fans? The next concept is getting closer than usual. And this one is also rooted in neuroscience. It's so interesting how our brains work when we get close to people. And you can actually predict, based on neuroscience, what's going to happen when people get physically close to other people, and we can use that as a way to generate fans. So I've already established I'm a live music geek, and recently, actually it was a couple of years ago, I went to the Outside Lands Music Festival in San Francisco because I was really, really eager to see an artist named St. Vincent. I'd seen her before, but I was really, really, really eager to see her on this particular stage. And so those of you who've been to festivals know that they usually rotate stages. So a stage is generally empty for an hour, and then another stage is going, and then they swap. So I was able to get way up front, and this is where my place to stand was just behind the professional photographers, and it was an amazing show. But then something happened that I had never experienced before up close. And St. Vincent was in the middle of a guitar solo. And I was in my little spot right over here. And then as the music's playing, and I'm taking my photographs, sharing them on my social networks, she decides to go down the steps. And I'm right here. And she starts playing a guitar solo right in front of me. And it was amazing. She went from being unapproachable up on a big stage to being among us in the audience. And that really powerful moment was something that I remembered for a really long time and was among the most powerful single moments of any of those 797 live shows that I've been. It didn't last very long. It was just a moment. Then she turned around and went back up the stage, finished her guitar solo, and she was done. And I posted this on my Instagram as a great shot. And all of the media that then talked about this named it as a standout moment, not just of her performance, but of the entire show. Here's the Rolling Stone article, and there's the geek right there. And it turns out I was in all the photos. But the idea here that's so interesting that this illustrates is the closer you get to someone, the more powerful the shared emotion. The closer you get to someone, the more powerful the shared emotion. This idea comes from neuroscience. And there's a neuroscientist by the name of Edward T. Hall who actually identified the different levels of proximity. And look at this. We've got a whole bullseye on the stage. We've got bullseyes on the screens. And so if I'm in the bullseye right now, I'm 12 feet or further from every single one of you. And when you're 12 feet or further from other people, it's called public space. Our brains know when there's somebody in our public space, but we don't track them. Our unconscious brain doesn't worry too much about those people. We know they're there, but it's not something that we pay too much attention to. Then, when you get a little bit closer, between about 4 feet and about 12 feet, sort of about this distance from the people in the first and second rows, that's called social space. And our brains begin to track people who get into social space because we need to know, are these people part of our tribe? Are these people friendly? Are we safe with these people? Or are these people potential danger that we need to be worried about? We can't help it. It's hardwired into our brains. And then when you get even closer, like I am to my friend Michelle right now, 4 feet or less personal space, that's where the most powerful human emotions happen, either positive or negative. If you know somebody, you're at the cocktail party last night or tonight at the dinner, and you know them, very powerful, positive human emotions. If you're in a crowded elevator with people you don't know, very negative emotions. That's why you feel uncomfortable. You can't help it. It's hardwired into our brains, this idea of proximity. So the idea here is that St. Vincent went from up on the stage, where she was in public space to everybody, to coming down and being in the personal space of a few people who were lucky enough to be down front. And so this idea is incredibly powerful for all of us and our businesses. Can we get within the social space or the personal space of our customers? Purposefully do that. This is Josh. Isn't he cute? Josh is an entrepreneur. He's an egg entrepreneur. And Josh started his business when he was 9 years old. He started selling door to door around his home in Melbourne, Australia. And he was in the personal space of his customers selling door to door. He sold a bunch of eggs. Then he started at age 11 to sell at farmers markets. Again, in the personal space because he was physically there with his customers, able to sell them those eggs in their personal space. Then Josh, at age 13, started to sell at the local supermarket, Kohl's. He would go after school and on weekends to sell his eggs, again, doing a great job at selling those eggs, so that then they let him get into multiple Kohl's stores, and he would go from store to store after school and on weekends selling his eggs. Josh is incredibly customer-centric. Josh is incredibly fandom-focused. Josh, when I spoke with him, he was 17 years old at the time, told me he sells 9,000 dozen eggs per week, and he employs his parents in his business. Josh, absolutely crushing this idea of being closer to his customers, doing a fabulous job. So this idea of how can you do this? You're already doing it. Salespeople, the more you can physically meet with customers, the better. The more you can have events like perspectives, bringing people together, the better. Even with employees, this is an employee-only event, but employees getting together, close physical proximity, building those strong connections, incredibly powerful. This is how we can turn mere customers into fans, and it's rooted in neuroscience. Which brings me to another concept about neuroscience, which is really interesting because some people say to me, but David, this sounds great. I can't get close physically to all my customers. They're in multiple cities around the world. We do a virtual business in many ways. And so I've got good news for you because you can also do the same thing using something called mirror neurons. Mirror neurons are the part of our brains that fire when we see somebody doing something as if we are doing it ourselves. And I'd like to demonstrate that to you right now. I've got some various lemons up here, slice of lemon, a whole lemon, some lemon wedges. And if I take a bite of this lemon, my brain fires. Let's do that now. Bite of this lemon. Wow, and my eyes close. My eyes are actually watering a little bit. My mouth puckers up, and a little bit hard to talk, actually. And my saliva glands are doing their thing. It's an incredibly powerful thing to bite into a lemon. You're feeling it too, right? Isn't that interesting? That's from the power of mirror neurons. Your brain is firing too, through the power of mirror neurons, as if you bit into the lemon as well. And so here's how we can use this. This is the idea of virtual proximity. This is the idea of how we can use this concept of mirror neurons to be able to show people that we're in proximity with them, even though intellectually they know we're not. So if you shoot photographs or videos cropped as if you're in the personal space of somebody, cropped as if you're 4 feet away, and look directly at the camera, that's incredibly powerful. It's an incredibly powerful way to build the idea of proximity. This is precisely why we feel we know movie stars. You've never met that movie star, and intellectually you know they're an image on the screen. But your brain tells them that you know them. So celebrate this idea of selfies. Celebrate this idea of sharing things. Sir, is it okay if I post the picture we took to social media? Is that okay with you? I'll give you $5. Are you on Twitter by any chance? Would you like me to tag you? You can say no. Is that okay? All right, good. So I'm gonna post the photo that we just took, and I've already pre-written most of it. May I have your Twitter ID, please? Do you know it? Michael A. S.A. Oh, I gotcha. Okay, great. So this is going out now on my Twitter with the photo we took, and I didn't have enough time to put Wicked and Divine, but I'll share with my daughter later. So that's out now, and my Twitter ID is on all of my slides. Thank you very much, Michael. I appreciate it. Give a round of applause for Michael, please. Thank you for letting me call you out, Michael, and for sharing the photo. So this idea of selfies, many of you may have noticed who have posted selfies on your social networks that they tend to get more engagement than photos that don't contain photographs. That's this idea of mirror neurons kicking in. People see that, they feel as though you know that person. And so this is, by the way, rather meta. That's me taking a selfie in front of a selfie bar in Moscow. And putting these out is really interesting. It's also true for video. So I'm on the board of advisors of HubSpot, have since the very beginning, a hugely successful company. Many of the videos that they use for their marketing purposes, like this one, are shot as if it's about 4 feet away and looking directly at the camera and in a natural style. And so our brains tell us we know Kyle, even though intellectually we know we've never met Kyle. And these kinds of videos do fabulously well. This particular video, 119,000 views, and their channel does well as a result of this. What Katie told me, Katie's at HubSpot, that when you make your customers successful, you're changing the world, and that's incredibly valuable. The other thing that's really interesting about HubSpot is they have many of their employees like Kyle who are part of their videos. And HubSpot was just named a couple of months ago as the #1 company to work for in the entire United States by their employees through Glassdoor. And so many times when you're celebrating your employees, as we're doing right now at this meeting, by the way, that becomes valuable and interesting and important, and HubSpot's doing fabulously well. I started getting involved with them when they had just 8 employees and no customers. They now are traded on the New York Stock Exchange, although the markets have gone down in the last 2 days. Several days ago, they were $8.5 billion in market cap. So this is the idea of growing those connections. And I would encourage you, as you're thinking about the new marketing that you're working on, the new selling that you're doing and you're working on, the new ways you're talking about the products that we heard about today, how much can you bring people into it? How much can you bring people cropped as if you're in close physical proximity into it? Because the effective use of video, the effective use of photographs, hardwired into our brains through neuroscience, we think we know those people. It builds fans, it grows business. It does fabulously well. I would even suggest that you think about how some of the videos that are shot for the learning courses that you create are shot. I'm going to be doing 10 videos for you this afternoon as part of the products. I'm going to ask that they be shot in this way, as if I'm 4 feet away, as if I'm looking directly at the camera, as if I'm being personal about it, because I want people to bond to me, which then rubs off on all of Skillsoft. The effective use of video. And finally, the last concept I'd like to share is the concept of a passionate life. Something that every single one of us can do. Because when you have a passionate life, that joy is spread. People want to do business with you. People want to be a part of your world. This is Dr. John Marashi. Dr. Marashi is a dentist in Southern California. I had a chance to meet Dr. Marashi several years ago, and I met him at an event just like this one. It happened to be a Tony Robbins event that I speak at. I do 2 hours at Tony Robbins Business Mastery events, and Dr. Marashi was there, and he's like, David, these ideas sound really interesting, but I'm a dentist. And I don't know if you know this, if you've taken a look at any dentist websites recently, but dentist websites all look the same. You know the shot. It's the dirty, crooked teeth turning into the straight, white teeth, and they all use that shot. And I'm like, Dr. Marashi, yeah. Okay, so you're a dentist. You've got some wonderful degrees that you've got on the wall, and you're wearing a white coat, and you've got dirty teeth turning into straight teeth. What do you love to do? What are you a fan of? What are you passionate about? And Dr. Marashi says, well, I love to skateboard. That's it. You love to skateboard. You're passionate about skateboarding. Let's celebrate you skateboarding. So now Dr. Marashi on his website and in his social media is not just a dentist in Southern California competing with 10,000 other dentists. Dr. Marashi is the skateboarding dentist. And so you can see photographs of him skateboarding on his website. He actually has skateboards on the wall of his dental practice instead of those degrees that everybody else has. He skateboards from examination room to examination room. And he shares these on his Instagram. This is a dentist with nearly 15,000 followers on his Instagram. And yes, he does have the dirty, crooked teeth turning into the straight, white teeth, because I think that's the law. You know, the American Dental Association says that you must have that, I think, or something. But look at, there he is. These are all his Instagram photos. There he is skateboarding from one examination room to another. There he is. He lives in Southern California, skateboarding. He loves to wear bow ties as well for some reason. He actually also has pictures of his family. Now, I'm not suggesting that for every single one of us having pictures of our family is the right thing. But if you feel as though that's part of your life, that's important, and you don't mind sharing it, we want to know who you are. We want to know who your family is. We want to know that you love to skateboard. We want to know that you love Peloton. We want to know that you love the Grateful Dead. We want to know what you're passionate about, because passion is infectious. Passion is infectious. When you radiate passion to the world, people want to do business with you. And yeah, it's the law. You got to have the dirty teeth becoming straight. But then you show that you love to skateboard. What this does is it turns your customers into your fans. And people are eager to share with each other that this is the skateboarding dentist. He's amazing. So when someone says, gee, I've just moved to Southern California, I need a dentist, who should I go with? My guy's great. He skateboards. Not my guy is great, he graduated from Harvard Dental School. My guy's great, he skateboards. This is about customer-centric and fandom-focused. Dr. Marashi, I originally spoke with him 2 years ago, hadn't heard from him in a really long time. He reached out to me out of the blue. David, it's going great. 30% growth in my new patients, directly attributed to the fact that I'm a skateboarding dentist. He measures it. Why did you come to me? And he believes it to be as high as 50%, because he tells me that some people say it's a referral. But he knows that many people who are referred will eventually go to his website. Passion is infectious. Passion is infectious. So my original thesis for this book was that fandom is not just for entertainers. And Reiko and I found examples of all kinds of companies who have developed fans, nonprofit organizations, B2B companies, technology companies, doctors, dentists, government agencies, educational institutions. Fandom is your growth engine. Fandom is Skillsoft's growth engine. Fandom is SumTotal's growth engine. There is no question about it. If you make a commitment to building that customer fandom, you will be as successful as these other people. And sometimes people say, yeah, but does that really work for me? I kind of think it might, but does it really work for me? And so that outward manifestation of fandom, as I mentioned before, is people who are eager to put stickers on their computer. They're eager to wear the hat with the logo on it. They're eager to wear the t-shirt with the logo on it. And no, it's not just entertainers. It's all kinds of organizations. It's B2B companies, it's technology companies. It's all kinds of organizations. I saw a number of people over the last 2 days here at the event, and your computer is open. And I've asked a couple of people, wow, look at all those stickers. May I take a photograph of you with the stickers on your computer? Because we're eager to share what we love, even if it's a technology company, even if it's an organization that you wouldn't think can develop fans. But in fact, there is no question that every single one of us has an opportunity to develop fans. It's about that genuine human connection. It's about living life with passion, and it's about getting out there and making it happen. What would your life be like with millions of fans? What would it be like? Give it up. What would it be like with millions of fans? Because that's exactly what every single person here can do, is generate millions of fans. And finally, what are you a fan of? What are you a fan of? When you live a life with passion, you live a life of joy. You live a life where people are eager to do business with you. You live a life where people think, this person is great. This company is great. You make your career more meaningful. What are you a fan of? How can you celebrate that fandom? Because passion is infectious. My name is David Meerman Scott, and this has been Fanocracy, the power of making business personal. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thanks very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much. Thanks, Ted.
Thank you. Thank you, David. David Meerman Scott. Again, thank you. Wow. Got a lot to take away from that. What are we going to do with it? Turning customers into fans. Think about it. Socialize it with all of us while we're here. Connect. Talk to your leader. See how you can apply it in your business, our business. It's all about us and taking our customers and being customer-centric.